Hello, my dear students. Hope you guys are all doing good. Hope you guys are all perfectly fine. I hope you are doing your preparation in a perfect way and you're all ready for your coming examination. So, as I know, as you all are aware, there is very much time, very much less amount of time left for the coming examination. So, just I wanted to bring to your attention through this video. I wanted to take you quickly through the RTP for GST for May 2024 examination. So, some students wanted to refer this RTPs, MTPs, and all before they go for the examination. So, just I wanted to do one video whereby I will be quickly taking you through the content of RTP so that if at all when you are reading the RTP, if you get stuck somewhere, if you are unable to understand certain point, if you are unable to understand certain things from the GST, you can watch this video and get your things clarified. So that is the main intention why we are recording this video and uploading it. Hope you guys will learn from it. Hope you guys will make maximum advantage of it. So without any delay further, I will not waste much of your time. I will directly come to the point. So here I have downloaded the RTP which has been released for May 2024 attempt for the GST paper. And here there are different kinds of questions given. So basically they have given a case scenario based MCQ question they have given. After that they have given some descriptive questions that also will try to cover it. So without any delay further, let me start it with the case scenario based MCQ, whatever they have given here. So let me start reading the facts here. So first one, ABC Limited has its manufacturing unit in the state of Rajasthan. Further, it has ancillary units in the state of Madhya Pradesh and Gujarat and is registered in each of the states. So there is a company ABC Limited. Now this ABC Limited is having some manufacturing units. They are having units in Rajasthan. They are having manufacturing unit in Rajasthan. They are also having a manufacturing unit in Madhya Pradesh. They are also having a manufacturing unit in Gujarat. So that means at 3 states they are having their places of business. And they are telling that they are registered in each of the state. ABC Limited is registered with Rajasthan state government also. They are registered with MP state, Madhya Pradesh state government also. They are even registered with Gujarat state government also. Moreover, ABC Limited owns and operates a hotel in Udaipur, Rajasthan. So in addition to the manufacturing unit, they are also having one hotel. They are also running a hotel where in the Rajasthan state at Udaipur location. Okay. In addition to the aforesaid, ABC Limited owns a commercial space which is rented out to a registered person at a monthly rent of 50,000. So in addition to that, ABC Limited is also having one commercial space. That commercial space they have rented it to and another person who is registered. So this ABC Limited is a service provider. There is a recipient who is a registered person and they are renting out a commercial space and they are renting out that commercial space for a consideration of 50,000 rupees per month. Okay, the maintenance of the premises is the responsibility of ABC Limited. So whatever this commercial space is there, maintenance will be looked after by ABC Limited. In pursuance of the same, during the month of April, ABC Limited incurred certain expenses on the purchase of maintenance related material. Sir, what basically they are trying to say here? See, what is the intention is, take for example, there is a commercial space, there is one commercial shop is there. It is owned by ABC Limited. Now this commercial space has been given on rent to another registered person. And the rent is 50,000 for that. In addition to that, see, for this commercial space there will be maintenance too. Sometimes repairs will happen, some other materials they have to purchase. So this maintenance activity initially it will be borne by ABC Limited. So whatever maintenance is there, whatever materials they require for the purpose of maintenance of this commercial property, they will buy it. So next what they are telling, let us see what else they are telling. In pursuance of the same, during the month of April, ABC Limited incurred certain expenses on the purchase of maintenance related material. The said expenses are recoverable from the tenant along with the invoice issued for the rent. The rate of tax applicable on the material used for maintenance was 5%. So what is the summary? So as I have told, whatever commercial space is there, this maintenance will be looked after by ABC Limited. So service provider will look after the maintenance. They will purchase various raw materials, which is required for doing that maintenance activity, and those products whatever this company has bought for the purpose of maintaining of this commercial space, they attract a GST rate of 5%. But the thing here is whatever this maintenance expenses are there, that also are recoverable from this recipient. So the summary here is the company is letting out commercial space for a monthly rent of 50,000. That means the registered person who is a recipient is required to pay monthly rent of 50,000. Along with that, he is also required to pay maintenance charges also. Now ABC Limited will give an invoice. So in the invoice which they give to this recipient, they will say for immovable property, renting of commercial space, the amount is 50,000, and along with that in the invoice they will also charge something called maintenance expenses. Take for example 5,000 maintenance expenses, that also will be collected from the recipient. Able to understand? So now you tell me, So should the GST be levied only on 50,000 rupees on rent of immobile property, or should the GST be levied even on this 5,000 rupees of maintenance also? GST should be levied on entire 55,000. GST should be levied on the entire value of 55,000. But at what percentage? Take for example, immobile property, renting of immobile property will attract a GST at the rate of 18%. Whereas maintenance charges, for example, they are buying the material, this material will attract a GST of 5%. But here they are providing these services as a package. Here this service provider is providing the renting of immobile property. Along with that, he is also collecting maintenance expenses. That means he is offering two services with a single invoice. Is offering two services with a single invoice. Are they naturally bundled? They might not be naturally bundled. So they are artificially bundled. This we can call it as a mixed supply. This we can call it as a mixed supply. And in the case of mixed supply, whichever supply attracts the highest rate of GST, that rate will be applicable for the entire value. That rate will be applicable for entire value. So take for example, if they're charging a total of 55,000 in the invoice, so here renting of immobile property will attract 18% of the GST. Materials used for maintenance will attract 5% of the GST. Both are getting clubbed together and getting provided as a package. It is falling under mixed supply. In case of mixed supply, entire value will be taxed at the rate of highest rate of GST. So entire value here 55,000 will attract GST at the rate of 18% per annum. That 55,000 will attract the GST at the rate of 18% per annum. So no two separate rates will be levied. So it will not be like on this 50,000 of rent 18%, on the maintenance charges separately 5%. No, they are providing it as a package. So it will be a mixed supply. Entire value of that rent along with the maintenance should attract GST at the highest rate, which will be 18%. Clear everyone? Able to understand? The same thing they are trying to say here. The same question they will ask. So I am explaining you well in advance. So if we come back, so we have understood one fact. Okay, let us try to understand remaining things also, whatever they are trying to say here. During the year, ABC Limited agreed to provide the hotel to Mr. X for a business conference to be held at Udaipur. Mr. X is an unregistered person residing in Maharashtra. So as I have told, this company ABC Limited in the state of Rajasthan, they are having hotel also, no? So whatever this hotel are there, they have provided accommodation services in this hotel to another person, Mr. X, who is an unregistered person. Okay, and he that services, whatever they have provided, whatever hotel they have given, or whatever hotel accommodation they have provided to the person Mr. X, who is an unregistered person. That person actually came from Maharashtra. He stayed in the hotel which is there in Rajasthan, which is there at the hotel, which the hotel is actually located at Rajasthan. So if you pay close attention, these are the services which are related to immobile property. These are the services which are related to immobile property, renting of a hotel, accommodation. These are all services related to immobile property. And when it comes to services related to immobile property, 12 subsection 3 will come into picture. So 12 subsection 3 says that in case of services which are provided to which are related to immobile property, the place of supply will be the location where the immobile property is located. So wherever that immobile property is located, that place itself will be the place of supply. So if you pay close attention, a person from Maharashtra coming to Rajasthan, he is availing the accommodation services at a hotel in Rajasthan. So this is a place of this is a supply related to immobile property. 12 subsection 3 will come here. What will be the place of supply for these services? The place of supply will be location of that hotel. So where that hotel is actually located in the state of Rajasthan, place of supply will be Rajasthan. So place of supply is Rajasthan. What is the location of the supplier? What is the location of the supplier? ABC Limited is located in Rajasthan only, no? In the Rajasthan only they are having hotel, in the Rajasthan only they have registered. So location of the supplier is also Rajasthan, place of supply is also Rajasthan. So for the purpose of providing this accommodation services, this will fall under intra-state supply. If it is the intra-state supply, what will be collected? CGST will be collected and SGST also will be collected. Both will be collected. It is not an interstate supply, it will fall under intrastate supply. If it is an intrastate supply, what will be levied? CGST and SGST both will be levied. Now let us come to the next part. ABC Limited made a supply of machinery in the month of June, details of which are as follows. See, they're also into manufacturing business, right? So they have supplied one machinery in the month of June. Basic price of the machinery before TCS under Income Tax Act amounted to 45,000. So before TCS, the price of the machinery was 45,000. And they have collected TCS at the rate of 2,500 rupees. Now you tell me, we have learned the chapter value of supply. In the value of supply, they say that the value should include all the taxes which are collected except CGST, SGST and IGST. But however, there we have read one specific notification or circular which says that TCS is not considered as taxes. TCS value should not be included in the value. TCS should not be included in value. So this 45,000 rupees, we from this 45,000 rupees of price for the purchase of for the machinery, should they add this 2,500? No, TCS should not form part of value of supply. And one more thing also they are telling here, it received a subsidy of 3,500 from Green Foundation Private Limited for usage of green energy, and the subsidy was linked to the units of energy saved and not aforesaid machinery. See, this is where most of the students will do mistake. So that's why I want to take you through the provision here. So what we have read in the value of supply chapter, what we have read regarding subsidy, in our value of supply chapter. So if I take you through it, this is the point where most of the people will get confused. So I want to read the provision for you once, so that you once again it will act as a revision for you. So that is my main intention. So let us go to the concept of value of supply. Right, see here. See, we have specifically seen one thing regarding subsidies. So what they have told, subsidy, when the subsidy will be deductible, so the subsidy is generally added to the value of the supplier who receives a subsidy. But it must be noted that only those subsidies which are directly linked to the prices of the goods or services are added to the value. And one more thing also they say here, note that if the subsidy is given by state government or central government, it should not be added to the value of supply. So in the value of supply chapter, we have specifically seen that when it comes to subsidy, in case if you are receiving the subsidy, then that subsidy you can add it to the value of supply, provided that subsidy should have been given by someone other than central government or state government. That subsidy should not have been given by central government or state government. Subsidy given by other than central government or state government, that only will be added to the value of supply. So if you see here in the given case, who is giving that subsidy? In the given case scenario, who is giving that subsidy? They have told they have received a subsidy of Green Foundation. So is it a government? Is it central government or state government? No, subsidy is not received from central government or state government. Okay, very good. But there is one more condition. We can add that subsidy only when that subsidy is linked with the price. We can add that subsidy to the value of supply only when it is specifically linked with the price. So this is what I want you to pay one more attention, close attention. What happened here once again? Sorry. Yeah, this is what I was referring to. So specifically, we have seen that only the subsidies which are linked to prices of the goods and services. So you can add that subsidy only when subsidy is given, which is directly linked with the price. If the subsidy is given, then only you can add it to the value of supply. So in the given case, two conditions should be fulfilled. Number one, the subsidy should not have been given by central government or state government. Number two, that subsidy should have been linked with the price. But if you read the facts which are given in the case scenario, they are telling that, okay, this subsidy has been given by Green Foundation Private Limited for usage of green energy, and the subsidy was linked to the units of the energy saved, not the aforesaid machinery. That means this subsidy which has been given by this entity, it is not related with the price. It was actually related with the number of electricity units saved. On the basis of a number of units, the units of energy which they are saving, they have got the subsidy. This subsidy is not linked with the price. So can you add that 3,500 rupees of subsidy to the value of supply? No, that also you should not do it. So it would have been received from other than central government or state government, but it was not linked with the price. That's why we should not add this. So we will not even add this TCS. We will also not add this subsidy. So what will be the value of supply of this machinery? The value of supply of machinery will be only 45,000 rupees only. Neither this TCS will be added nor this subsidy will be added. Next one. In addition to the aforesaid transactions, ABC Limited spent an amount of 5 lakh on the procurement of certain goods which were distributed as a part of the corporate social responsibility expenditure required under the provisions of the Companies Act. Now this is relating to 17 subsection 5. We have read one point in the input tax credit chapter. So in the input tax credit, we have seen that whatever goods which the company is procuring or whatever services which the company is procuring for the purpose of distributing them as a corporate social responsibility in order to fulfill the requirements of CSR, whatever goods they have procured on that GST, the company will not be able to avail it. That credit will be blocked. So they have spent some 5 lakh rupees on procuring certain goods, and these goods are getting distributed as a part of their CSR expenditure. Can the company claim this amount? Can the company claim the GST component on this 5 lakh rupees of goods as their input tax credit? No, they can't claim it. Why? Because these goods were procured for the purpose of distribution as a corporate social responsibility. So on this, input tax credit will not come. Next one. During the scrutiny proceedings in the state of Gujarat, jurisdictional GST officer asked ABC Limited to submit the copy of audited financial statements for Gujarat and was of the view that ABC Limited is required to get his accounts audited by a chartered accountant separately under GST law for filing of annual return and reconciliation in each state. No. See, under GST law, there is nowhere a specific requirement of undergoing a separate audit of the financial statements. If you have already got your if you have already audited your financial statements as per some other laws and regulations, if you submit that audited financial statements, that will be enough for the purpose of filing of annual return. There is no requirement of separate audit of the financial statements. It is not required under any of the GST law. But here the officer is saying that the officer of the GST is telling separate audit of the financial statements is required for GST purposes. No section of the act says that. There is no separate requirement of conducting audit of the financial statements under GST law. Existing audit will be enough. So there is no such requirement. So here the officer's stand is not correct. Next one. All the above amounts are exclusive of GST wherever applicable. The rate of GST on all inward and outward supplies is 18% unless otherwise mentioned. Assume that there is no other outward or inward transactions apart from aforesaid transactions. Based on the facts of the above case scenario, choose the most appropriate answer to the question number 1 to 5 below. So they have given a few questions based on the above facts. They are asking us to answer those questions. So let us try to answer them. Question number 1. For the transaction relating to renting of commercial space, what would be the rate of tax charged by ABC Limited? So as I have told, they are letting out one commercial space on rent, and as I have told, they are giving invoice for rent also, they are giving invoice for maintenance also. What should be the rate of GST for that entire amount? As I have told, for the rent and also for maintenance, for entire value, the rate of GST applicable will be 18%. So let us have a look at the options. The rate of GST on rent and maintenance material related recovery shall be 18%. So on the entire rent and maintenance, the appropriate rate of GST should be 18%. Yes, this looks a correct option. The rate of GST on rent shall be 18% and on the material it shall be 5%. No GST shall be charged on the recovery related to material used in maintenance. Rate of GST will be there only on rent. No, even on maintenance also GST has to be collected. The rate of GST on rent and maintenance material related recovery shall be 5%. No, this is also wrong. So here the service which will attract highest rate of GST will be immobile property, renting of immobile property. So entire value has to be charged at the rate of 18% only. Clear? So option A will be the correct option. Next one. Compute the value of supply under section 15 of the CGST Act made by ABC Limited in the month of June. So in the month of June, what they have done? In the month of June, they have supplied one machinery, no? So what is the value of supply for the month of June? It will be 45,000. This TCS also will not be added. Subsidy also will not be added. So that's why the place of the value of supply for the purpose of month of June will be 45,000 rupees only. Next one. With respect to the hotel accommodation service provided to Mr. X, GST payable by ABC Limited. Yes. So this ABC Limited has provided accommodation services to unregistered person, Mr. X. No. So with respect to this accommodation services, what GST has to be collected? Let us see the option. Nil. GST on accommodation services payable by the recipient. Did we see it anywhere? Did I tell you that service on accommodation is liable to be paid under reverse charge mechanism? No, it is payable under forward charge mechanism only. Nil. GST on accommodation services provided to an unregistered person is exempt. No, we have not read any such exemption. So here, coming to the next option. So the GST which has to be collected is in the nature of CGST and SGST. Yes. Why? Because even I have gave you explanation. The place of supply will be location of the immobile property, which is Rajasthan. And the location of the supplier is also Rajasthan. Since the location of the supplier and place of supply both are falling in the same state, it will be an intrastate supply. If it is an intrastate supply, CGST and SGST will be collected. So CGST and Rajasthan GST, Rajasthan state government's GST will be collected here. It will be in the nature of IGST. No, it is not interstate supply. It is actually a intrastate supply. So it will be in the nature of CGST and SGST. Now coming to the next point. Which of the following options is correct with regard to availability of ITC to ABC Limited in respect of GST paid on procurement of goods meant for the purpose of corporate social responsibility? As we have told, whatever goods you are procuring for the purpose of corporate social responsibility, on that you will not be able to avail the input tax credit. So the amount of ITC related to such procurement of goods is not available to ABC Limited. Yes, this is a correct option. The amount of ITC related to such procurement of goods is available. No, no, it should not be available. The amount of ITC only to the extent of 50% of amount of such procurement is available. No, this also we did not see it anywhere. The amount of ITC shall be available to the registered person to whom such goods are distributed under CSR activity. No, this also we did not see. So did I tell you anywhere, if you are distributing the goods to some person under CSR, can that person, whoever is receiving the goods under CSR, can he avail input tax credit? No, he also can't avail input tax credit. So basically whatever goods you are procuring for the purpose of distributing them for CSR expenditure, on that goods you will not be able to avail the input tax credit. Next one, coming to the fifth question. Which of the following option is correct with regard to advice given by GST officer in respect of auditing of the accounts? So we have seen one paragraph where the GST officer is asking the client to get the accounts separately audited for GST purposes. Is there any such requirement? No requirement is there. So there is no requirement of separate audit of the financial statements from the perspective of GST provisions. Yes, this is the correct option. Only reconciliation statement shall be audited by chartered accountant. No, even reconciliation statement is also not required to be certified by chartered accountant. Self-certified reconciliation statement you can submit. The annual return as well as reconciliation statement shall be audited by chartered accountant. No, not required. Next one, separate audit of the financial statements at each state level is required by ABC Limited under GST law. No, no such a separate audit requirements are there under GST law. So the correct option is going to be option number A. So this is what a sample of case scenario based question. This is how the questions may be tested in the examination when it comes to GST. So you have to pay close attention to the facts here. So whenever you are reading these kind of MCQs, my suggestion is whatever facts you are reading, immediately try to make a summary. So this is what I always suggest to the students. Whenever you are reading questions, especially in the GST, whatever important facts you find it as relevant, please try to mark it, or else try to make a summary, so that once you read the case scenario, if you have all the facts on your fingertips, when you read the question, you will not get confused. The things will immediately come to your mind. You will go and read the relevant paragraph. See, if you don't pay attention, just like a novel reading, if you are reading the entire case study, then you are coming and reading the question, then what will happen is you will not know regarding which matter the question is getting asked. Once again, you have to read the facts of the case study from the beginning. So it is a double time reading, which is not suggested. In the examination, time will be very less, time will be running out, so we can't afford to read the same questions again and again. So what I will tell is, at the time when you are reading MCQs, at the time when you are reading the case study, at that point of time only you try to highlight all the important things, or you try to make a summary, whatever amounts are there, whatever they are talking about the places of supply, whatever they are talking about registration requirements, turnover requirements. So whatever important terms are there, whatever summary is there, whatever key terms are there, that you try to develop a summary in a rough, or at least try to highlight it in the question using a pencil. Clear? So if you don't highlight, if you don't pay attention, to the important facts which are there in the case scenario, once you start reading the question, then you have to come back to the question once again, search for the entire question, get the facts, and then try to get the right answer. That is not the correct approach. Follow the approach whatever I have told you. So the main intention of doing this video regarding RTP is also that to develop that thinking capability, to develop that interpretation skills in the examination, how you have to approach for the examination. That is what my main intention. See, if at all I have to read the question and tell you the answer, that you can also do it. You don't need me to read the question and explain the answer. Why? Because that you can also do it on your own. So main intention why I'm doing this RTP series is to make you understand the importance of reading, how you have to read, what kind of approach you have to follow, how you have to interpret the question. That thinking process I want to bring it in your minds, not just reading the question and explaining the answer. That you can do it on your own. For that you need not watch my video. Clear? I hope you are able to get it, the way of reading and interpreting the questions. So this is how you have to read and interpret it. So with this we are done with the MCQs. Now we will look into detailed questions, descriptive questions. We will see so what kind of questions they have asked and what are the suitable answers, how we have to present it. That we'll try to focus now. So now if I start reading the next question, question number 6, we'll be reading and solving it now. Let us pay close attention to it. Mrs. Cute and Co., a partnership firm, registered supplier under GST. So the SSC is a partnership firm and they are already registered under GST. In which state? In Bengaluru, Karnataka state. So they have obtained registration with the Karnataka state. Has provided the following information for the month of October 2023. So for the month of October 2023, they have given some of their business transaction details here. Let us see what are they. They are giving different kinds of information here, but let us first try to understand what is the requirement of the question. So if you come to the end, so what is the requirement of the question? First we will get it. compute the net GST payable in cash. Compute the net GST which is payable in cash by Mrs. Cute and Co. for the month of October 2023. Correct legal provisions should form part of your answer. So I would suggest you one thing. So especially when you look at the question in the examination, which is very big and which contains this kind of table, first let us become clear what is the expectation from this question. So I would suggest you one thing before you go into the details of the transactions and all, just read the last paragraph of the question so that you will get to know what is expected from you, what is the final outcome which they are expecting from you. So if you know exactly what is the expectation from this question, then you can understand the correct question in the correct perspective. So always my suggestion, so when you read this questions in the GST, and if especially question is very lengthy, humble suggestion, just to come to the last paragraph, give a reading once, you will get the clarity what is expected from you from this particular question, so that when you go into the details of the question, you will remain cautious, your focus will be on the right point. So we have read the question. So finally, the requirement of this question is they are asking us to compute what is the GST payable in cash. What is the net amount of GST which they have to pay it in the cash. That means this question is regarding the payment of the taxes. So now obviously when we have solved some questions in the payment of taxes, what will be the question like? First they will give you outward supplies. On the outward supplies we have to calculate what is our output tax liability. Then they will say our inward supplies. From that inward supplies we have to calculate what is our input tax credit available. Sometimes there will be opening balance of input tax credit, so we have to add that transactions which have given rise to input tax rate in the current year to the opening balances. Now payment arrangement we have to do, payment adjustment we have to do. So we have to determine what is the IGST payable, what is the CGST payable, what is the SGST payable. Now we have to start adjusting the input tax credit. First try to utilize the IGST amount, exhaust it. Then after that try to utilize CGST, whatever CGST is there, first use it for CGST. If anything is left out, you can use it for IGST. Then come to SGST, you use it for payment of SGST. If any excess is left, that you can use it for the payment of IGST. So like that we have discussed in the classroom what is the manner of utilization of input tax credit. So when you do all that utilization, if there is any excess output tax liability which is required to be paid, that has to be paid in cash. So in this kind of questions, we will have three things to calculate. Number one, what is the output tax liability we have to calculate? What is the input tax credit available that we have to calculate? Finally, we have to determine how much amount we have to pay it in the cash. This is what the steps, this is what we have solved so many number of questions in the chapter payment of taxes. So this question also will be more or less in the similar lines. So let us now go into the details of each and every point. Let us calculate which transactions will give rise to output tax liability, which transactions will give us input tax credit, and then how we can adjust it. Everything we'll try to determine looking at each and every step here. Okay, right. So let us try to solve the question by starting with this details which are given in the table. So reading the first thing here from the table, the first thing what they say is intrastate supply of direct selling agent services to the public sector bank. So this partnership firm, so as they have given in the facts itself, so who is the SSC? Cute and Co. They are a partnership firm. So what is the legal status of the SSC? They are a partnership firm. Now this entity, they are giving the details of the transactions, whatever they have done. So first detail what they are telling. So they have done intrastate taxable supply. So they have done some intrastate outward taxable supply of what kind? They have provided intrastate taxable supply of direct selling agent services to the public sector bank of how much? 2,50,000 value. See, the moment when you read this services of direct selling agent, which chapter should strike your mind? Charge of GST. So in the charge of GST, we have seen reverse charge mechanism. When the services of direct selling agent are provided, they fall under reverse charge mechanism, but only when those services are provided by individuals. But in the given case, these direct selling agent services are getting provided by a partnership firm. So they will not fall under RCM. They will fall under forward charge mechanism only. So being the service provider, Cute and Co, this firm only making an outward supply, this firm is only required to pay the GST on as a output tax liability. So if the individual would have provided these services, they would have fallen under reverse charge mechanism. But here individual is not providing the services of direct selling agent. A partnership firm is providing that direct selling agent services. So this 2,50,000 will be taxable, will be covered under GST mechanism, and who has to pay that? Supplier is only required to pay that under forward charge mechanism. So now let us draft one table where we will try to do the calculation. Okay, right. So first I'm writing the table for output tax liability. So in the output tax liability also we might have output tax liability under IGST. we have output tax liability under CGST, we will have output tax liability under SGST. So first thing, outward supplies. So they have made outward supplies of what? Direct selling agent services. Of what value? What value? Sorry. So they have told in the question that the value of that outward supplies is 2,50,000, and it is a what kind of supply? Intrastate taxable supply. It is a what kind of supply? It is a intrastate taxable supply. Since it is a intrastate taxable supply, what will be levied? CGST and SGST will be levied. So what is the rate of GST? Here in the notes they have given, in the question they have told rates of CGST, SGST and IGST are 9%, 9% and 18%. So it is 2,50,000. On this 2,50,000, 18%, 9% CGST and 9% SGST has to be levied. So calculate it. So if you open the calculator and do that calculation for me, so 2,50,000 into 9% CGST into 9% SGST. So 2,50,000 into 9%. So the answer will be 22,500. So not here, here. So 22,500 rupees of CGST, 22,500 rupees of SGST. These services, this is their output tax liability from the transaction number 1. Let us have a look at a few more details, whatever they are giving. Services which are provided to governmental authority by way of sanitation conservancy. See, the service is exempted. This was a amendment. This was added in the Finance Act 2023. Even this point I have covered in the amendments lecture also when I have uploaded that supplementary related video on YouTube. There also I have covered. This is an amendment. If you are providing services to a government authority and by way of sanitation conservancy, this is given specifically on the exemption list. So this 99,900 is completely exempted. On this, no one is required to pay the taxes, nor the supplier nor the recipient, neither under forward charge mechanism nor under reverse charge mechanism. This is completely exempted. Next one, rent paid to a residential dwelling. See, here you have to be very careful. They are telling rent paid. They are not talking about their outward supplies. Now in this point, they are talking about their inward supplies. So this firm, this partnership firm, they have paid rent to a residential dwelling taken for running an office, for providing DSA services. The owner of the residential property was not a registered under GST. This is an intrastate supply availed. Once again, you have to pay attention. This is a intrastate supply which have availed. This is a input service. This is the inward supply, not an outward supply. So what they're basically trying to say here is this Qt and company, which is the SSE here, they are rendering outward DSA services, no? For the providing of that services, they need an office, no? So what they have done is they have taken a residential dwelling, not for using residential purposes. They have taken one residential house on rent, and in that residential property, they are running their business. See, when you are providing residential dwelling for residential purposes to an unregistered person, then it is exempted. When you are providing the services of residential dwelling for the purpose of usage of residence to an unregistered person, then it will be exempted. But here, residential dwelling is getting provided for commercial purposes. Residential dwelling is getting provided for commercial purposes, so this will not get covered under exemption. And also one more thing here, here the person whoever is providing that property on residential dwelling, whoever that service provider is, a supplier, whoever is providing the supply of that renting of residential dwelling for commercial purposes, he is an unregistered person. And our recipient, none other than Qt and company, our recipient is a registered person. So this case grossly covered under reverse charge mechanism. Being the recipient, our client, our SSE, Mrs. Qt and company, they are required to pay the tax under reverse charge mechanism. They are required to pay the tax under reverse charge mechanism. So you have to be very careful. This particular point, it is not talking about outward supplies. This is talking about inward supplies, and this inward supplies which are received, they are getting covered under reverse charge mechanism. So Qt and company, being the recipient of the services, they are required to pay the tax under reverse charge mechanism. And one point you have to remember, in case if you are required to pay the tax under reverse charge mechanism basis, that tax you have to compulsorily pay it in cash only. That tax you can't pay it using input tax credit. This point we have already clarified in our regular lectures. So what I will do, one thing here is reverse charge mechanism. What is the tax which you are required to pay under reverse charge mechanism? That also will try to calculate separately. So on renting of residential dwelling, so they have received the services of renting of residential dwelling, and these are getting covered under reverse charge mechanism. And specifically in the question, they have also told one more thing. This is an intrastate supply. So being a recipient, since it is an intrastate supply, you are required to pay the GST under reverse charge mechanism. So you are required to pay here under reverse charge mechanism CGST and SGST. CGST and SGST. How much? The value of the rent is 25,000. 25,000 into 9%, which will be CGST component, which is 2,500, and 2,500 of SGST you have to pay. This completely you have to pay it in the cash only. This you can't pay it using your input tax credit. The tax, whatever is required to be paid under reverse charge mechanism, that has to be paid only in cash. And one more thing here, this is an input service. You are paying the tax on the reverse charge mechanism basis. Can you avail this input tax credit? Yes. You can avail whatever amount of tax you have paid on reverse charge mechanism basis, that you can take it as input tax credit. You have to be very careful here. Whatever tax that you are required to pay under reverse charge mechanism, that you have to pay it only using your cash. And whatever tax that you have paid on reverse charge mechanism basis on your inward services, that can be taken as a input tax credit. So basically here Qt and company, they will pay this tax in cash, and the same amount can be availed as a input tax credit. So when I calculate the input tax credit, when I make a table for input tax credit also, so they are getting a input tax credit of CGST 2,500, they are getting a input tax credit of SGST 2,500. Okay, so this they will pay in cash and they will get the credit immediately of that. Clear? Right. Next, let us address a few more points here. Purchased a car for official use of managing partners of the firm for business use. Purchase of motor vehicle. Purchase of motor vehicle. Tell me, on that will the GST input tax credit will be available? No, input tax credit will be blocked on purchase of a motor vehicle. So that input tax credit for the purchase of motor vehicle can be availed as input tax credit only when you are in the same line of business, when you are using it for imparting the driving skills, and some other restricted cases only credit will be allowed. So generally when you're using it for transportation of passengers, so in those cases only ITC will be availed. So here the company, the partnership firm Qt & Co, they have purchased a car for official use of managing partners of the firms for business use. So this company, this SSE is not in the business of reselling of the cars. This person, they did not say that he's imparting the skills of driving. He is also not providing the services of transportation of passengers. So can this firm, can they avail the credit of input tax credit of 9 lakh rupees on this motor vehicle? No, they can't avail. So on this input tax credit also will not be there. They will not be able to avail input tax credit on this 9 lakh rupees for the purchase of that motor vehicle. Next one. Availed information technology services for their business from partner's friend, Mr. Alan Wog from Melbourne, Australia. Mr. Wog refused to take any consideration. Open market value of the said services what? 1,25,000. Now they are talking about importation of services. See, when I talk about importation of services, what immediately should strike your mind? Section 7 should strike your mind. See, in the section 7, subsection 1, clause B, it says that when you are importing the services for a consideration, whether or not in the course or furtherance of the business, then it will be treated as supply. And if it is treated as supply, on that you have to pay the tax under reverse charge mechanism. So here my SSC, who is this Qt & company, they are importing information technology services, but without any consideration. They are not taking any consideration. So will this activity fall under section 7 subsection 1 clause B? No, we can't treat it as supply under section 7 subsection 1 clause B. Why? Because section 7 subsection 1 clause B specifically says that when you are importing the services for a consideration, whether or not in the course or furtherance of the business, then you have to treat it as a supply. But the given transaction doesn't fall under 7 subsection 1 clause B. Why? Because there is no consideration. But however, we have one more point regarding importation of service. When you read schedule 1, in that if you read para number 4, which says that if you are importing services from a related party, even without consideration, but for use in the course or furtherance of the business, then also it will be treated as supply. So in the given case, you are importing the service, there is no consideration also. And one more thing, if you see here, assume, yeah, it is in the course or furtherance of the business also, for their business also. But if you pay close attention here, it is not from a related party. Schedule 1, para number 4 says importation of services from a related party without consideration in the course or furtherance of the business, then it will be treated as supply. But if you pay close attention here, importation of services happening without a consideration, and it is in the course of furtherance of a business also, but it is not from a related party. You are getting it from a partner's friend. Partner's friend will not come under relative definition. In the schedule, in the GST Act itself, they have given the related party definition. Only those specified people will come under related party. In that list, partner's friend is not there. So this particular activity will not be treated as supply under section 7 subsection 1 clause B also. This will also not be covered as a supply under supply because it doesn't fall under schedule 1 para number 4 also. So on this, it will not be treated as supply. If it is not treated as supply, it will not be coming under GST purview only. So we have nothing to do with that. Okay, next one. Provided training and performance appraisal services in Bengaluru to the following persons. So this Qt and company, they have performed some services of training and performance appraisal services where they have provided that services in Bengaluru. They have provided the services, and they have provided training and performance services to the recipient, who is ABC Private Limited, who is a registered supplier in the state of Kerala. So now we have to go to the place of supply chapter. In the place of supply chapter, we have seen that when you are providing training and performance appraisal services, how to determine place of supply. For that, we need to see what is the status of the recipient. If the recipient is a registered person, then the location of the recipient will be the place of supply. However, if the recipient is an unregistered person, if the recipient is unregistered, then the place wherever the training and performance appraisal services are performed, that place will be the place of supply. So now if you see here, the entity is providing training and performance appraisal services, and the recipient is ABC Private Limited, which is registered supplier, and that recipient is located in Kerala. So for this 3 lakh rupees. So for this 3 lakh rupees of training and performance appraisal services, what is the place of supply? Since the recipient is registered here, the place of supply will be Karnataka. Sorry, the place of supply will be Kerala. What is the location of the supplier? What is the location of the supplier? Location of the supplier is in Karnataka. So location of the supplier is Karnataka. Place of supply is Kerala. Both are falling on different states and union territory, different states. So this will be falling under interstate supply. Since it is a interstate supply, what will be the GST? IGST will be collected. So on this 3 lakh rupees, they will fall under GST purview, and that will be treated as interstate supply, and IGST will be levied at the rate of 18%. IGST will be levied at the rate of 18%. So if we start updating this table here, so if we update this table here, so one more thing will come here: training and performance appraisal services. Training and performance appraisal services, which is provided for recipient ABC Limited, who is in Kerala. So for that transaction will come under GST purview. On that, IGST will come. So 3 lakh rupees is the value. 3 lakh into 18%, if you calculate, it will be 54,000 rupees. So 54,000 of IGST will be there. Now coming to the one more part. See, this entity has also provided training and performance appraisal services to another entity, Babu Cones, a proprietorship concern of Rajasthan, which is not registered under GST. See, training and performance appraisal services are provided to a recipient who is unregistered. Now the place of supply will be the location at which that training and performance appraisal services are performed. So where they are performed? Bengaluru, which is in the state of Karnataka. So in the second case of this training, place of supply is Karnataka and location of supplier is also Karnataka. It will be an intra-state supply. It will be levied to CGST and SGST. Will be levied to CGST and SGST. So on this 1 lakh rupees, they have to pay the GST under forward charge mechanism. And at what GST they have to pay? CGST and SGST. Why? Because that is a intra-state supply. So on this 1 lakh, they have to pay CGST and SGST at the rate of 9%. So once again, for training services which are provided to that Babu Cons, who is an unregistered person, they have to pay 9,000 rupees of CGST, 9,000 rupees of SGST. Clear? So now if we calculate, see with this, I think everything is over. All the points given in the question are over. Okay, so now we can calculate from this data what is the tax which is required to be paid in cash. So first, what is the total output tax liability? 54,000 rupees of IGST, that 22 plus 22,500 plus 9,000, which will come to 31,500 rupees of CGST, and then SGST of 31,500 rupees. What is the tax which is required to be paid under reverse charge mechanism basis? 2,500 CGST, 2,500 SGST. This has to be compulsorily paid in cash only. Then what is the input tax rate available? 2,500 rupees of CGST, 2,500 rupees of SGST. Now, how much amount of GST is required to be paid in cash? So first we will start with output tax liability. So under output tax liability, IGST is how much? CGST is how much? SGST is how much? So as we have calculated, what is output tax liability? 54,000 rupees of IGST, 31,500 from CGST and 31,500 rupees of SGST. Now in this we can avail input tax credit. In this we can avail input tax credit. I think I have calculated it wrongly. On 25,000, if I calculate 9%, it will be 2,250. Sorry, it will be 2,250. My mistake I have done here. 2,250 will be the CGST and SGST. Okay, so and even this also, renting of immobile property 50,000. No, so just let me check the question. So what is it? 25,000. So 25,000 in that 9%. It will be 2,250. Sorry. It will be 2,250. So my mistake in the calculation. So it will be 2,250 rupees of CGST, 2,250 rupees of SGST. The same thing will be available as input tax credit. Okay. So this is what my output tax liability under for my outward supplies. So in this, I can adjust input tax credit. What I can adjust as input tax credit? So I have CGST. Of how much input tax credit? 2,250 rupees of CGST I have, 2,250 rupees of IGST I have, sorry, SGST I have. So I can adjust it. So if I adjust it, 54,000 rupees of IGST I have to pay it in cash. CGST how much? 31,500 minus 2,250. So 31,500 minus 2,250. If I calculate it, it will be 29,000 rupees 250, and here also 29,250. This much amount I have to pay it in cash. Not just this, in addition to that, whatever GST I have to pay it on reverse charge mechanism. What GST I have to pay it on reverse charge mechanism? This 2,250 also I have to pay on reverse charge mechanism. No, so that also I have to add here 2,250 and 2,250. If I add it, totally 54,000 rupees of IGST you have to pay it in cash, 31,500 rupees of CGST you have to pay it in cash, 31,500 rupees of SGST you have to pay in cash. So this much complete amount you have to pay it in cash. Clear? Able to understand? The same thing you'll be able to find it even in the answer. So if you have a look at the answer, so here also answer has been given. So the final conclusion, how much amount you have to pay in cash? So 54,000 rupees of IGST, 31,500 rupees of CGST and SGST. So this is what finally you have to pay in cash. So that's what the requirements of the question. We have solved it. Understood? Right. So let's have a look at the next few questions. Right. So coming to the next question. From the following information provided by Sasta Bazaar, determine the time of supply for the purpose of the payment of GST. So now this question is from the chapter time of supply. So they have given 3 cases. In that 3 cases, we have to determine what is the time of supply. So let us see. It issued coupon on 20th of June 2023 worth 2,000 rupees redeemable against purchase of specific plastic item only. So what is this coupon was redeemed on 31st of July 2023. So they have given a coupon which is redeemable. For what purpose this coupon can be used, that was known at the time of issue of coupon only. So in that case, what will be the time of supply for that coupons? The time of supply will be the date of issue of that coupon. The date of issue of the coupon itself will be the place will be the time of supply. In case if you know what is the ultimate purpose of the coupon, what this coupon can be used for, if it is specifically known at the time of issue of the coupon, in that case the place of supply is going in that case the time of supply is going to be the date of issue of that voucher or coupon only. However, in case if you don't know for what purpose this coupon can be used, this coupon can be used for any purposes. In that case, the time of supply will be the date on which the coupon was actually redeemed. Now, if you read the second question, take another case. It issued coupon on 1st of July 2023 worth 3,000 rupees, which is redeemable against purchase of any item. Here for the coupon which has been issued, there is no specific purpose. In that case, the time of supply will be the date on which the coupon was redeemed. So here they are telling in the question, this coupon was redeemed on 18th of August 2023. So for this transaction, the time of supply will be 18th of August 2023. Whereas in the first case, since we already know for which purpose this coupon can be used, the date of issue of voucher, that is 20th of June 2023, this one will be the time of supply. So next one, coming to the third one, it received interest of 10,000 rupees for late payment from a customer on 11th of November 2023 for supply of goods which was originally made on 24th of June 2023. That means the entity has originally supplied the goods on 24th of June 2023. But the customer did not make the payment on time. Since he did not make the payment on time, so we have collected late payment charges also from him. 10,000 rupees of interest and late fee also collected. Now this 10,000 rupees also will come under GST purview. But for this 10,000 rupees of interest or late fee, whatever you have collected, the time of supply will be the date on which this interest or late fee has been received by the supplier. So on what date this 10,000 rupees has actually been received? This has been received on 11th of November 2023. That itself will become time of supply. So this is also something which we have specifically covered in the time of supply chapter. There is nothing indirect question here. This is a straightforward question. In case of interest or late fee for delayed payment, the time of supply will be the date on which that amount has been actually received by the supplier. So in the given case, he is receiving it on 11th of November. That itself will be the place of supply. The same thing you'll be able to find even in the answer. So if we quickly go through the answer, so what they are telling. So date of issue of the voucher. So section 12 subsection 4 says the time of supply of vouchers exchangeable for goods. Date of issue of the voucher of the supply that it covers is identifiable at that point of time. or in case if it is not it is not identifiable, then in all other cases date of redemption of the ocho. So in the first case, in the given case, supply can be identified at the time of purchase of the coupons, therefore the time of supply will be 20th of June. Whereas in the second case, the supply cannot be identified at the time of issue of ocho, so in that case the date of redemption of the coupon will be the time of supply, which is 18th of August. However, in the third case, section 12 subsection 6 says that the time of supply in case of addition in value on account of interest, late fee or penalty for delayed payment of consideration for goods is the date on which the supplier receives such addition in value. And in the given case that interest or late payment fees was collected on 11th of November, that itself will be the place of supply. Sorry, time of supply. I'm continuously using that term, place of supply. Sorry for that. So it should be time of supply. Next one. Coming to the next question. With reference to GST law, determine the place of supply with reasons in the following independent circumstances. So now the question has come regarding place of supply. Let us see. Miss Kanika of Kolkata visited to Jodhpur Law University and paid her college fees by purchasing a demand draft from the bank which is located in university campus. Miss Kanika did not have any account with the bank. So now they are talking about banking and stock broking services. We have one specific subsection of section 12 which is talking about what will be the place of supply in case of banking and stockbroking related services. There they say that in case if the address of the recipient is available in the records of the bank, then the place of supply will be the address of that recipient. In case if the address is not available, the place of supply will be the location of the supplier. If you pay close attention here, the recipient is Kolkata. The recipient is from Kolkata. She visited to Jodhpur Law University, which is there in Rajasthan, and paid her college fees by purchasing a demand draft from a bank which is located in the university campus. Nothing but in the university campus which is there in Rajasthan, to that branch she has went and she bought a demand draft. And one more thing also they are telling, Miss Kanika did not have any account with the bank. See, if this lady did not have any account with the bank, then bank will not definitely have the details of that address of the recipient. So in that case, the bank is not having, in the bank's records, address of the recipient is not available. Since address of the recipient is not available, the place of supply will be location of the supplier, nothing but Rajasthan. Here supplier is bank which is located at Rajasthan University. So the place of supply will be location of the supplier, which is Rajasthan only. Sir, how you have decided the customer's records the bank records address of the recipient is not available? On what basis you have decided? On what basis I have decided it? On the basis of last statement which says Miss Kanika did not have any account with the bank. If she is not holding any account only, how can you expect the bank to maintain the records of that particular customer? Yes or no? So since the records are not available, so the place of supply will be the location of the supplier, which is nothing but Rajasthan. So same thing they will try to mention even in the answer here. So if we quickly go through the answer. So they say that section 12 subsection 12 of the IGST Act provides the place of supply of banking and other financial services including stockbroking services to any person is the location of the recipient of the service in the records of the supplier of services. However, if the location of the recipient of the services is not available in the records of the supplier, then the place of supplier will be, then the place of supply is the location of the supplier of services. So that's what we have also told. In case of banking and stockbroking services, the place of supply will be address of the recipient. If it is available in the supplier's record, if it is not available, then the location of the supplier will be the place of supply. Therefore, since the location of the recipient is not available in the records of the supplier, the place of supply is the location of the supplier of services, which is Rajasthan. Sir, on what basis you have decided the address is not available? Because they have clearly mentioned that concerned lady is not having any account with that particular bank. So we can comfortably decide that the address is not available in the bank's records. So the place of supply is going to be the location of the supplier, which is Rajasthan. Understood? So there is one more case in which they are asking us to determine the place of supply. Let us read that other case also. There are two questions actually under this. So second question, Mizu Machine Limited, registered in the state of Andhra Pradesh, supplied a machinery to Kian Wind Farms Limited, which is registered in the state of Karnataka. So supplier is in the state of Andhra Pradesh and they have provided a machinery to the recipient, and the recipient is actually located in the state of Karnataka. However, this machinery was assembled and installed at the windmill of Kian Wind Farms Limited, which is located in the state of Tamil Nadu. So this machinery has been sold by supplier who is registered in Andhra Pradesh. It was bought by a recipient who is registered in Karnataka. But this machinery is actually required to be installed in Tamil Nadu. Tell me what is the place of supply? So we have specifically seen that with respect to such goods which require assembly or installation, the place of supply will be the location at which that goods are actually installed or assembled. So since the goods are assembled or installed in the state of Tamil Nadu, the place of supply will be Tamil Nadu. Clear? Next one. Talking about the next question. Happy Constructions Limited, a registered builder under GST in Bengaluru, Karnataka, has got permission to build 5 floors from the municipal projects for one of its projects at Surajnagar. Aditya Constructions, a neighboring housing project, approached Happy Constructions Limited to discuss regarding blockage of the sunlight issue arising out of construction of 5 floors and asked it to build only 3 floors, for which 20 lakhs was offered as a compensation. Able to understand the facts till here? So take for example, there is one builder. He got approval from the regulatory authorities to construct 5 floors of the building. He can construct 5 floors. But at the in the neighboring premises, there is one more builder. He's having, take for example, he's having only 3 floors of building. Now this person is worried. If this person constructs 5 floors of building, sunlight will be blocked. But actually, this particular builder is having the permission from the laws and regulations from the regulatory authorities to construct 5 floors. But this person is worried. So he came to this builder and told, boss, you have permission for building 5 floors, but if you build it, what will happen is sunlight will be blocked for our building. So you do one thing, even though you have permission for 5 floors, you don't construct that extra 2 floors. You construct only 3 floors. So you have a power to construct 5 floors, but you construct only 3 floors. You agree to construct only 3 floors. Don't construct 5 floors. For not constructing that extra 2 floors, I will give you 20 lakh rupees. I will give you 20 lakh rupees. Can we treat it as supply? Yes, we can treat it as supply. So if you remember, we have read one point in schedule 2. In the supply chapter, we have read one point in schedule 2. Agreeing to do an act, or agreeing to refrain from an act, or agreeing to tolerate an act for a consideration, it will be treated as supply of services. It will be treated as supply of services, yes or no? So the same thing is happening here. So here, this person is having the permission to construct 5 floors, but he is agreeing to construct only 3 floors. That means he is refraining from doing an act, even though he is having the permission to construct 5 floors, but he is not constructing. He is agreeing to refrain. He said, okay, I will not construct that extra 2 floors for a consideration of 20 lakh rupees. So this also will fall under supply, and this will also fall under GST purview. On that 20 lakh rupees also GST has to be imposed. So first thing is clear, that has to be considered as supply. Next one, Happy Constructions Limited agreed to the offer. It may be noted that Aditya Constructions is not ready to pay any further amount to Happy Constructions Limited in addition to the amount already agreed. This is very important, very, very important. This is where most of the students will go wrong. They are telling that Aditya Constructions told that I will pay you maximum 20 lakh rupees only. I will not pay you anything extra. I'll pay you 20 lakh rupees only. I will not pay you anything extra. That means what they're trying to indicate here is they are ready to pay only 20 lakh rupees for that agreement, and that 20 lakh rupees is inclusive of GST. So since this Aditya Constructions, this person is Aditya Constructions, he is telling, boss, I will give you maximum 20 lakh rupees. I will not give you anything extra. Which means what? This 20 lakh rupees is inclusive of the GST. He will not pay GST extra. This 20 lakh rupees is inclusive of the GST. Okay, next one. Briefly explain with correct legal provisions whether the above amount received as compensation, is it liable to GST or not? Yes, it is very much liable to GST. And if considered as taxable, then calculate the amount of GST payable by Happy Constructions Limited. Assume the applicable rate of CGST and SGST is 9% each. That means this 20 lakh figure is inclusive of the GST. So if you calculate the GST component, how you can calculate? So you have to divide it 118 with 18. So 220 lakhs into 18 divided by 118. So if you calculate that, you will get the total figure of the GST. If you divide it by 2, you will get CGST component and SGST component separately. The same thing you will be able to find it even in the answer. So if you start reading the answer, the same thing they will, more or less the same thing they will try to say here. So if you have a quick look at it, yeah, so this one, agreeing to obligation to refrain from an act, or to tolerate an act or a situation, or to do an act that has been specifically declared to be supply of service as per Schedule 2 of the CGST Act, if the same constitutes a supply as per CGST Act 2017. In the given case, Happy Constructions Limited has agreed to build only 3 floors, even though it is permitted to construct 5 floors by the municipal authorities for a compensation of 20 lakh rupees. So he is compromising for a consideration of 20 lakh rupees. This also will be treated as supply. This results in supply of service. The conditions which are required to be complied for the above supply will be, there must be an express or implied agreement. So in order to treat that transactions as a supply, in order to treat that agreeing to refrain from an act, or agreeing to tolerate an act, or agreeing to do an act, in order to treat these activities as a supply, 2 conditions are required to be fulfilled. Number 1, there should be agreement, either implied or express agreement should be there, and there must be consideration. So in the given case, there is an agreement clearly, and also there is a consideration flowing. 20 lakh rupees of consideration is also flowing. So 2 conditions are satisfied. Yes, this will be treated as supply of service. So since Aditya Constructions is not ready to pay any further amount of GST to Happy Constructions Limited, in addition to the amount already agreed, the amount received 20 lakh rupees shall be treated as inclusive of the GST, and the GST payable will be, you have to do the reverse calculation, 20 lakh rupees, which is inclusive of the GST of 18%. If you do that reverse calculation, you will get to know what is the CGST and SGST component. So you are required to pay 1,52,542 rupees of CGST and the equivalent amount of SGST also. Clear? Right. So I hope you are able to understand this question. So very, very important. These kind of questions are having a high chance of getting tested in the main examination also. So please be careful. You refer this question once again. You refer this question particularly once again. Next one. The aggregate turnover of Mrs. Mangal & Co., a registered person for the financial year 2022-23 was 8 crores. It approaches you as a GST consultant for the issue of e-invoicing. Advise whether it is mandatory to issue e-invoice. Also list out the entities which are exempt from mandatory requirements of e-invoicing. So straightforward provision they are asking, and this is an amendment, as I have explained in the even in the amendments also. Earlier the limit for e-invoicing used to be 10 crore rupees, but now it has been reduced from the financial year 2017-18. If in any financial year, if your aggregate turnover has exceeded 5 crore rupees, you are required to mandatorily issue e-invoice. And in the given case for the financial year 2022-23, this entity's turnover was 8 crore rupees, so they have exceeded the limit of 5 crores. They are required to mandatorily issue e-invoice. They are also asking one more thing. They are also asking you to list out the entities which are exempted from e-invoicing. Some entities, even though they fulfill that criteria of 5 crore rupees, still they are not required to issue e-invoicing. So which entities are not required to issue e-invoicing even after fulfilling the above criteria? SEZ units, they are not required to issue e-invoice even after meeting the above criteria. Insurer, banking company or financial institution including NBFC, these are also not required to issue e-invoice. And also GTA service provider who is providing the services relating to transportation of goods, those are also not required to issue e-invoice. Supplier of passenger transportation services, persons who are supplying services by way of admission to exhibition of cinematograph films, that too in the multiplex screens, they are also not required to give e-invoice. And government department and local authority, these entities are also not required to give e-invoice. Clear? So this also they are asking, so this list also you have to add it. So the question is answered. So straightforward question, no complications at all. Next one, coming to the next part. So coming to a few more questions, right? So we'll have a look at this question 10A. Very, very important, very interesting question. Very high chance of testing in the examination. Very, very interesting question they are asking. Please listen carefully. Ramlala Enterprises, registered in Delhi, is engaged in supply of interior decoration services to Andhra Bhavan, located in Delhi. Service contract is entered into with the government of Andhra Pradesh, registered only in Andhra Pradesh. The total contract value inclusive of GST is 15,50,000 and payment for the same is due in October 2023. So what are the facts of the case? There is an entity, Ramlala Enterprises. Okay, this is the supplier. They are providing what? They are providing interior services. To whom? To the government of Andhra Pradesh. To the government of Andhra Pradesh. And this government of Andhra Pradesh, where it will be generally registered? It will be registered in the state of Andhra Pradesh only. So they have been registered in the Andhra Pradesh state. Whereas this Ramlala Enterprises, the supplier, where he is registered, where the supplier is registered. So in the question itself, they are telling what is the state of registration of the Ramlala. So what is the state of registration of this supplier? The supplier's state of registration is Delhi. So location of the supplier is Delhi. Location of the recipient is Andhra Pradesh. Now, what is happening next? Let us have a look. So now you are required to determine amount of tax, if any, to be deducted in the above case, assuming the rate of CGST and SGST and IGST are 9%, 8% and 18%. Now, if you look at this question, now they are coming to the point, they are asking you to determine in the given case, is there any requirement to deduct TDS? Is there any requirement to deduct TDS? And first, let us try to answer this question. See, when TDS provisions will become applicable, as we have seen in the TDS and TCS chapter, when the recipients fall under specified category. When recipient fall under specified recipients category, they have given a list of recipients. If the recipient is falling under any of that category, then what they should do is, from the payment, whatever they have to make it to the supplier, they have to deduct 1% of CGST, SGST or 2% of IGST from the payment. They have to deduct it, and the balance only they have to make the payment. And whatever TDS they have deducted, that they have to deposit with the government. So this is what the provisions which we have read in TDS. So generally, in which cases this TDS provisions will become applicable. So if you have a look at the conditions, as we have read in the TDS chapter. So as per section 51 of the CGST Act, the following persons are required to deduct CGST at the rate of 1% and SGST at the rate of 1% or IGST at the rate of 2% from the payment made or credited to the supplier of taxable goods or services or both, where the total value of such supply under a contract exceeds 2,50,000. The following persons will be required to deduct TDS when the value of the supply under a contract exceeds 2,50,000. So who are that specified recipients? A department or establishment of central government or state government, or a local authority, government agency, or an authority or board or any other body set up by an act of parliament or state legislature or established by any government with 51% of more participation by way of equity or control, or any society which is registered under Societies Registration Act which is established by central government or state government, and public sector undertakings also. So if you pay close attention, here the recipient is nothing but Government of Andhra Pradesh. So it was falling under specified recipients category. If you see here, a department or establishment of the central government or state government. So you are actually providing services to the establishment of a state government. So recipient is falling under specified recipients category. The value of supply under a contract is also more than 2,50,000. Why? Because in the question they have told the value of supply is 15,50,000, which has exceeded the value of supply, which is more than 2,50,000. The limit is 2,50,000, but the value of supply has exceeded that. So recipient is falling under specified recipients, and value of supply has also exceeded 2,50,000. So generally TDS should have been deducted. But here you have to pay one more attention. So when we discuss the TDS concept, I told you one specific case where the location of the supplier and the place of supply both are falling in one state, which is different from the location of the recipient, which is different from the state of registration of the recipient. In that case, even though the above conditions are fulfilled, even though the recipient falls under specified recipients category, even though the value of supply under contract is more than 2,50,000, still TDS will not be deducted. When the location of the supplier and the place of supply and both are falling in one state which is different from the state of registration of the recipient, in that case TDS will not be deducted. Now let us see whether this condition is getting fulfilled or not. See, in the given case, location of the recipient, location of the supplier is what? Delhi. What is the location of the recipient? Location of the recipient is what? Andhra Pradesh. Now we need to determine what is place of supply. So what kind of services are getting offered? So if you go back to the question, what kind of services are getting provided? The services which are getting provided are interior designing services. What services are getting provided? Interior decoration services. That means these are the services which are related to immovable property. These are the services which are related to immovable property. So when it comes to services related to immovable property, how to determine place of supply? That is covered under 12 subsection 3 of the IGST Act, which says that in respect of services which are related to immovable property, the location of that immovable property will be the place of supply. So if you read the question carefully here, Ram Lalla Enterprises registered in Delhi is engaged in supply of interior decoration services to the Andhra Bhavan, which is located in Delhi. They are providing interior decoration services to the immovable property which is there in Delhi. So if you go by the rule 12 subsection 3, the place of supply is going to be what? Delhi. The place of supply is going to be what? Delhi. So once again, what is the thing happening here? Location of the supplier is what? Delhi. The place of supply is also what? Delhi, if we go by 12 subsection 3. So location of the supplier and place of supply both are falling in one state, which is different from location of the recipient, which is Andhra Pradesh. So in this specific case, even though the recipient falls under specified category, even though the value of supply is more than 2,50,000, still TDS is not required to be collected. Logic and all we have discussed in the class. I'm not going into that details, but this is one thing which you have to remember. If the location of the supplier and the place of supply both are in one state, which is different from the state of the registration of the recipient, in that case, even though the conditions are fulfilled under section 51, TDS is not required to be deducted. So in the given case, the TDS is required to be deducted or not deducted? No, TDS is not required to be deducted, even though the recipient falls under specified recipients category, even though the value of the supply under contract is more than 2,50,000, still TDS is not required to be deducted. Even the same summary they will say here. Right. So we have to write the provisions in this manner. Next one, this is very important. State provision to 51 subsection 1 stipulates that no taxes shall be deducted if the location of the supplier and the place of supply is in a state or union territory which is different from the state or as the case may be union territory of registration of the recipient. In that particular case, TDS is not required to be deducted. So since the location of the supplier and the place of supply is Delhi and the state of registration of the recipient, that is Government of Andhra Pradesh, is Andhra Pradesh, no tax is liable to be deducted in the given case. And one more thing also they are asking in the question. In the question is not just completed here. In the question they ask one more thing. Will your answer be different? So if you read it, will your answer be different if Ram Lalla Enterprises is registered under composition dealer? No. Even though the supplier is a composition dealer, still our answer is not going to change. So whether the registered person is a composition dealer or regular dealer, that doesn't matter. So one rule which will become applicable here is if the location of the supplier and place of supply fall in one state which is different from the state of registration of the recipient, no matter whatever is the status of the supplier, whether he is registered under composition scheme or registered under regular scheme, doesn't matter, this case will not come under TDS deduction. So what answer you will write here? Our opinion is not going to change. Our stand is not going to change even though the supplier is a composition dealer. Our answer will going to remain the same. Next one. So next one more question is there. One more last question. Examine the implication of GST on supply of food and beverages at the cinema halls. So this is one specific amendment. This also we have covered in the amendments lecture. So there was recent circular regarding this. What will be the GST on the supply of food and beverages at a restaurant? So this we have specifically covered in our marathon. So once again we will revise it. So what they have told us, what the circular has clarified is, generally at the movie theaters there will be restaurant. For example, if you book your tickets for a movie only, if you have booked your tickets for movie only, and during the interval if you go to the restaurant there and eat some food there and you order some food and get it, then that services will be treated as restaurant services and GST will be applicable at the rate which is applicable for restaurant services. However, along with your ticket you are booking the food also. That means you are getting it as a package, movie tickets along with the food, then that will be treated as a composite supply, and then entire value will be taxed at the rate of principal supply, which will be display of the movie. So whatever rate that is applicable for movie exhibition, that entire value will be taxed at the same rate. This is what even we have clarified in the marathon. In the marathon also we have clarified, in the revision lectures also we have clarified, even in this supplementary in this amendments lecture also we have clarified. So recent circular amendment, so that's why high chance of getting tested. So see here the same thing they say, supply of food or beverages in cinema hall is taxable as a restaurant service as long as the food and beverages are supplied by way of or as a part of service, and they are supplied independent of the cinema exhibition service. As I have told, you booked only movie ticket, you went to the movie, you watched the movie, during the interval you felt hungry, you came outside and you ate, you ordered the food at the restaurant. So in that case, whatever food services that are getting provided, they will be treated as restaurant services and they will be taxed at the rate which is applicable for restaurant services. However, where the sale of cinema ticket and supply of food and beverages are clubbed together and such bundled supply satisfy the test of composite supply, the entire supply will attract a GST at the rate which is applicable to the service of exhibition of cinema. For example, nowadays in the multiplex screens, you have this option. For example, if you are booking a ticket, movie ticket along with the food, if you can get this entire package for 500 rupees, so you paid 500 rupees, you got this entire package. Now in this, for this 500 rupees, you are getting two services. One is exhibition of cinema, other one is food. But if you see here, they are composite supply. These two services are clubbed together, one of which is a principal supply, other one is a supporting service. So which one is a principal supply? Watching of the movie is a principal supply. So whatever GST rate that is applicable for exhibition of movie, entire 500 rupees will attract the GST at the rate of that rate which is applicable for exhibition of cinema. For example, the GST rate which is applicable for tickets exhibition of cinema is 18%, the GST rate which is applicable for food is 5%, then this entire 500 will attract the GST at the rate of 18% only. Clear? However, if you book the ticket separately, during the movie you went to the restaurant and ate the food and you paid 200 rupees at the restaurant for eating that samosa and cool drink, now this 200 rupees will attract GST at the rate of 5% only, because they will be treated as restaurant services. Understood? So the same thing we have explained in the amendments. So that direct theory question they have asked. So this is what one quick explanation of RTP for GST for May 2024. Hope you guys are able to understand. Still, if you have any doubts, you can always feel free to reach out to me. Hope you guys have learned something from this RTP discussion. If you find it informative, please do share it with your friends as well. Thank you guys. Thanks for your patience listening, and also all the very best for your coming examination.